What is up, gamers? This is Jax from the Art of Games Media, and today we will talk about the Honor of Kings neutral objective. So number 1, we will discuss about the Tyrant. Number 2, the Overlord. Number 3, the Shadow Tyrant. Number 4, the Shadow Overlord. And 5th is the Tempest Dragons. And finally, what is Primal Bond? And then we will also discuss the buff that these objectives provide and how it can change or shape your game for an advantage or disadvantage. So without further ado, let's go on and get right into it. So let's begin with the Tyrant objective. The Tyrant objective gives you and your team attacks that gain a chain lightning effect. This deals 20 plus 10 times the hero level, that's magical damage to heroes. And then 60 plus 30 times the hero's level, magical damage to non-heroes with a 3-second cooldown. So let's take a step back and break that down. So that's gonna be 20 plus 10 times hero's level, which is 5, so that's 50 plus 20, with a total of 70 magical damage to heroes. And then with the creeps, that's gonna be 60 plus 30 times level 5, so that's a total of 150, plus the 60, so that's a total of 210 magical damage to creeps, which is triggered every 3 seconds. The chain lightning can be triggered by a hero's basic attack or skill. And then it can also bounce to hit up to 3 targets. The maximum bounce radius is 400 units. The chain lightning cannot damage any towers. And then killing the Tyrant also grants XP and gold to the entire team. Alright, so next up is the Overlord. After a hero deals the final blow to the Overlord, their team's next 2 minion waves on all 3 lanes will be replaced with the Overlord Vanguards. The Overlord Vanguards are very good at destroying towers. They have a 50% damage reduction against towers. Slaying it grants gold and XP to the entire team, just like the Tyrant. These objectives spawn at the 4th minute of the game. During this phase, the tower shield shatter and the jungle protection will end, which results in jungle creeps dealing more damage. Catapults also move out, which gives you a better chance of pushing towers. So let's step back and discuss the Primal Bond. Why is it important to note? The Primal Bond reduces damage against the Tyrant and the Overlord by up to 50% for 90 seconds. Heroes with the Primal Bond will make the Overlord and Tyrant use Primal Barrage Rage, dealing tremendous damage. So this will mean, after getting one of the 2 objectives, there will be a handicap of getting the second objective, and may result in losing a clash that will bring a disadvantage instead of a steady lead. By this point, we will strategize which objective will we prioritize. Will it be the Tyrant that gives the whole team buff, or the Overlord which helps push the towers to further control and gain map control? However, if there's a significant lead and there's a chance to obtain both objectives, then by all means get both of the objective to solidify an early lead. Now let's head up to the Shadow Tyrant. Deal the final blow to the Shadow Tyrant to grant the Shadow Tyrant's arrival buff to the entire team. Just like the Tyrant, your attacks gain a chain lightning effect that deals 60 plus 30 times the hero's level, magical damage to heroes, and 100 plus 50 times the hero's level, magical damage to creeps, and has a cooldown of 3 seconds. So let's step back and break that down. So let's say you're at level 10, so that will be 60 plus 30 times level 10, which is 300, so that's a total of 360 magical damage to heroes. Now that's gonna be 100 plus 50 times level 10 is equals to 500 for a total of 600 magical damage to creeps. But then there's also an additional buff. So you will gain 10% extra movement speed and 5% more when you're out of combat. Chain Lightning can be triggered by a hero's basic attack or skills and can bounce to hit up to 3 targets. The maximum bounce radius is up to 400. Chain Lightning again cannot damage towers, and killing it also grants XP and gold to the entire team. Then we have the Shadow Overlord. After a hero deals the final blow to the Shadow Overlord, their next 2 minion waves in all 3 lanes will be replaced with the Overlord Vanguards. The Overlord Vanguards takes 50% less damage from towers. The hero that deals the final blow to the Shadow Overlord also gains an active skill. It's the capability to summon a Shadow Vanguard. Now this skill can be used anywhere on the map. Using it summons a Shadow Vanguard that spawns from the crystal and flies down the lane of your choice. After using the skill, the Shadow Vanguard will sweep down the lane starting from the crystal. It deals a fixed damage of 10,000 to enemy minions it passes. If a minion is killed, heroes can earn 150% of the usual gold, which is divided equally among all teammates. The Shadow Vanguard also leaves a Shadow Path. This usually lasts for 60 seconds. For the duration of the Shadow Path, the teammates and other Overlord Vanguards on the path gain 10% damage reduction and deal 10% more damage to structures. The Summon Shadow Vanguard skill is only available for 60 seconds. If the hero dies or does not use it within 60 seconds, the Shadow Vanguard will automatically be summoned to the lane closest to the hero's current location, or the location of death. The Shadow Vanguard has a faster attack speed and higher health than the Overlord Vanguards. Slaying the Shadow Overlord grants gold and XP to the entire team. Now these objectives spawn at the 10th minute of the game, which can greatly impact the strategy of which among the two will be prioritized. Along with this, cannon creeps also move out and they deal great amount of damage which can help in pushing towers further to the crystal, making the map smaller for the enemy and giving them a hard time to farm in their jungle. This can be the turning point of the game, which can be considered the late part of the game. Heroes can have their primary items built up, which gives them the advantage or capability to enhance the clash or fighting strategies. One key strategy in obtaining both of the objective is dividing the team into two, which attacks the objective simultaneously. But this also comes at a cost of being ganked by a group of enemies with more headcount than your team. So doing this might need a really good plan in terms of knowing where your enemy is within the map. So a good macro play strategy is the key. So last but definitely not the least, we head over to the Tempest Dragon. The Tempest Dragon spawns randomly at either Shadow Overlord or Shadow Tyrant camp. When the match reaches the 20-minute mark, the Shadow Overlord and the Shadow Tyrant disappear. Then the final Gorge creature, which is the Tempest Dragon, appear at a random Tyrant or Overlord camp. Now the arrival of the Tempest Dragon plunges the entire Gorge into a violent storm, whose thunder and lightning will push the battle into a furious final confrontation. Minion waves will be replaced with the Tempest Vanguards. They can disrupt towers, making them unable to attack for 5 seconds. Now the team hero gains a powerful buff, called the Storm Awakening. It grants an induction mark to automatically strike nearby enemy units with lightning, dealing true damage equal to 5% of the target's maximum health. This damage is increased to 20% to non-hero units. There is also Grant's Blessing of Lightning, which grants a shield that absorbs damage equal to 20 to 50% of your maximum health. This effect refreshes every time you leave combat. Starting at the 20-minute mark, the shield is enhanced by 1.5% every 30 seconds, and it can go up to 50%. Getting the Tempest Dragon grants XP and gold to the entire team. With this knowledge, you can head out and start strategizing a good macro play in advancing your team to victory. Stay tuned for our next video in which we will deep dive into the items, determine which items benefits your hero more and how it can change your game. We will also discuss how to counter items which will really impact the way you play. Now we reached the end of the video and got to know more about the key importance of each objective and how they can shape your game. If you liked the video, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. Give it a like and comment below which part of the video helped you the most, or what other topics you want to discuss. Again, this is Jax, your host from the Art of Games Media, and see you next video.